channel. My name is the Dinosaurus and welcome to this speed build. For those who don't know me, I'm Dana and I love playing video games, particularly simulation games such as The Sims, City Skylines, Planet Zoo, things like that. I am on Twitch as the Dinosaurus. But those who might be joining us from there will know that I've had a few issues with my internet recently. Namely that my internet currently isn't fast enough to actually stream, which is very, very sad, and it's made me very upset. However, I'm working through it. I've decided that I'm going to make YouTube content in the interim and hopefully keep that going once I can stream. Hopefully it won't be too long. It depends really what happens in terms of me getting a job and whether the internet provider actually makes fiber broadband accessible in my building, and things like that. But for the time being, I am here on YouTube, and I'm going to be trying to release a video every week. I don't really have a sort of schedule at the moment in terms of IRL, and this has made me quite sad, really. Because I haven't been working since January. It was fine when I was living in my old place and I had the ability to stream and things like that. However, obviously since I've moved, I can't do that anymore, and so I felt quite lost almost without it. Without streaming or any sort of schedule, because at least like with a stream, I was like, okay, I would stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then obviously I couldn't do that anymore. However, hopefully now I've gathered the guts up to start doing YouTube videos. Hopefully you'll basically just be seeing content that you'd see on my Twitch, but on YouTube. There are certain things I'm going to leave for Twitch. Just because I usually play a lot of Dead by Daylight on Twitch. I just don't think that's going to translate as well onto YouTube. However, I might start playing Assassin's Creed again, and that might start coming out here on YouTube, as that seems like a game that would be best to be played on YouTube is sort of a let's play and things like that. So yeah, that's the plan, and I hope if you are joining us from Twitch that you follow over there. Keep following me over there, so you know when I am next live, which hopefully won't be too long. And I'll make sure to make it something special. And hopefully by then I'll also have a computer, like a proper job computer, and I'll be able to start streaming things like Planet Zoo and City Skylines and other games that are not quite my laptop can't quite handle the frame rate and the streaming element. I will see if I can record these games. It might be a bit of hit and miss, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I should probably talk about what I'm doing here. So if you know me, I love The Sims, and I recently have just been wanting to play The Sims. I've just been wanting to play The Sims as it's sort of like not intent how it was made, but like I just want to. There's a lot of aspects of The Sims 4 I haven't explored, and I want to explore things I wouldn't usually explore in game. I also just want to start having fun because I love The Sims, and I've been a bit bored of it recently. And I don't think that has anything to do with the game itself. It's just like how I've been playing. I've been playing the same way I have been since I played The Sims 2. Create a family, play them, no drama, all happy, and things like that. So I am going to change things up a little bit in terms of this let's play. We're gonna have a little bit of drama, but not too much, and nothing too bad, if that makes sense. Like we probably have like maybe if the Sims personality inclines it, like some cheating or like uh a different well, that's still cheating. Yeah, just like cheating, maybe like unexpected deaths and things like that, just to like make it a little bit fun. I kind of want to like pull on lots of elements of lots of challenges in this let's play that I'm going to be starting. So like obviously the legacy challenge, I really want to get to 10 generations on this family. I would really love it. I might add a little bit of rotationality to it, and I might also draw on things like rags to riches and things like that a little bit. So I've figured out the floor plan. You can see here. In terms of the build, and I'm just kind of what I'm doing here. So I'm just trying to do that kind of thing you see in a lot of like 1930s houses where they have like a half wall partition, and it's got very pretty like I don't know what you call it, like edging at the top. You'll see I'll add some like accents there. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, I was just kind of give a vibe that this house has been here a while and they haven't really updated it. And things like that. So this house belongs to the Midas family, and the story I have for the Midas family is they are well, the people who live in this house, Eleni and Alexander, are they're immigrants from we'll call it Greece, like the sim version for Greece. Um, they have lived here for since like the 1950s. They've lived here for a long time. Uh, Alexander used to work in the quarry nearby, and they had a single daughter who I can't remember the name of right this second, but they had a daughter, and she that is the light of their world and things like that. And their daughter had a son out of with her husband at the time, and unfortunately the relationship didn't work out, and the dad left the daughter, and so she raised her son Nicholas or Nico, all by herself with the help of her grandparents. And so this is kind of just like this build is sort of based on that sort of that nostalgia of your when you go to your grandparents and it's all it's just as you remember it. So just saving there because I have been burnt too many times finishing a build and it crashing on me, and then I haven't saved and I've had to start again. So here I'm just trying to do the living room. I was going to add a fireplace, but then I realised that the room was way too small, so I get rid of that in just a second. I'm just adding some sconces, which I used to use sconces all the time in like The Sims 2 and The Sims 3, but I never use them anymore. So I really wanted to use them in this house because to me, like sconces, you don't really see them nowadays. You don't see these like wall lights as frequently. There you go. I got rid of the fireplace. And so I added it, and I'm just adding like an I never use this couch, but it's actually quite a nice colour. And it just gives me like old lady vibes there. I'm adding I changed the chair, but there's like an armchair that the granddad sits in, and I don't know what I'm quite doing here. Oh, I'm deciding on I'm trying to get the TV that came with Eco Living in the sort of like you can find it in the world if you like dig stuff. Now, this TV comes and goes. So you'll see me sort of decorating the living room, and then I try and add like a built-in like section in a second. Not this. I was trying to do something there with like a cabinet, but I don't know. I was gonna give them a cat, but I changed my mind. And anyway, yeah, so you'll see me add this bookcase, and then you'll see me try and build this sort of like built-in, like media station, which was quite popular in the like 60s and things like that. So I was just trying to do that, but I didn't really like the look of it. So you see me keep the TV here, and then I add a rug, which I think really goes with like the wallpaper. I think this room is my favorite. Oh, I love these new swatches on they added in the update recently. They're just so fun. I'm just looking at like paintings saying like it's like, oh, they're like Greece or something. Just putting those photos on the staircase. Those are like the grandparents. And then I see here I go. I delete the TV, and then I put that because I wasn't going to give them the TV. I was like, they're going to be quite like old, and like they never really watch TV. But since they have Nicholas, and I feel like when the mum was working, she's working a lot of jobs. Um, Nicholas would come over on the on those days, on the weekends or after school, and so they decided to get a TV so he could entertain himself. But they didn't really use it, and Nicholas isn't. I've sort of headcanon that he isn't the biggest TV fan. He'll watch TV. Um, Here I am just trying to figure out like what to do in this room. I think I ended up adding some windows there in just a minute. Yeah, there we go. And he's not the biggest fan of TV because his gran really loves the outdoors, and so does he. And I built her the most beautiful garden, which is a bit of a saga, but we get there in the end. And so, but they got the TV for him, and then as he got older and the mother got older as well. There was a rift that formed in the family, which meant that Nicholas stopped coming over. I haven't quite decided what that rift is, but I imagine it was the dad maybe tried to get in contact, or she got remarried and they didn't like him, or something along those lines. I feel like probably it's going to be the dad. They wanted her to get in contact with Nicholas's father and see if there's anything to work out or something along those lines. But she didn't want to, and it caused a rift because for the Midas family, family is a big thing. Family is huge. They are very close. Um, they you know are all very close to each other, and so they felt like her when Nicholas wasn't allowed to be in contact with his dad, they kind of felt like their daughter was betraying that aspect of the family, um or or didn't want to get in contact, and so she was betraying that sort of like that aspect of family that they pride themselves over. And I feel like they probably don't like they don't they never liked that she never found another husband, and that she raised her son pretty much by herself. They're not like unhappy about it, but they're not like very happy about it. I'm just adding a little bathroom here. You can see um, a separate bathroom to the like the rest of the house, because I feel like I find that is quite popular in older houses. Like you'll have the bath, the toilet separate to the bath and shower and sink. At least in the UK anyway. But yeah, and so they drifted away. Nicholas lived in a different city for a while. This is Evergreen Harbour, by the way. It came with Eco Lifestyle, and unfortunately Nicholas's mother got sick and she passed away, and that's where we'll be starting the Let's Play off. Here I'm adding some more photos. I really like those swatches. But yeah, that's where we'll be starting Let's Play off. So sort of like in the aftermath of that, the funeral essentially. and basically, because Nicholas doesn't have any like aunts or uncles, he comes back to Evergreen Harbour to live with his grandparents. And I'm just decorating like his room here, which I imagine was like hasn't been touched since he was a kid, and so it's still very childlike, even though he's a teenager. There I'm adding like this fun cute little height chart, which was fun, and here I'm adding some I really like this wallpaper. I think it came with Parenthood, and it's it's actually quite nice. So I added that, and I'm just like adding some childish posters. Nicholas is definitely not into these things anymore. He is definitely more well. And oh yeah, I got rid of that room because I realized there was like no need for it. And I'm just trying to fix the roof here. But yeah, so and I'm gonna try and give myself a bit of a challenge. I'm going to set all of Nicholas's like responsibility and like emotional control like in the red. And the aim of the game is to have his grandparents sort of like re established him, because he's a nice kid. Nicholas is a nice kid. He's just had a tough time of it, and particularly with his because his mother he was so close to his mother because he had no siblings, and she very lovely lady, very loving and kind. She losing her was quite a struggle for poor Nicholas, and so he has had some a bit of he's had a time of it, bless him. And so he's now come to live with his grandparents, and they are going to continue raising him, and hopefully they don't die like from heartbreak, because I'm gonna kill the daughter off, and hopefully they don't die, because that would be very awkward. Because originally I was going to do sort of like a runaway teen challenge to start off with, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like this is very glamorizing of the like that sort of aspect of some people's lives, and I just changed my mind. Here I'm just building a little shed, which because the grandparents are very like the grandfather's very active. He is very good at woodwork, and he used to work in the quarry. He's a very intelligent man, and his little shed has a few but oh no, I was going to say, but he really loves flower arranging, but I actually think I switched it out. There's a bike for Nicholas, and yeah, here I didn't like how the garden ended up, so I went back into game like the next day and started to redo the sort of landscaping here at the back. So I add a lot of flowers because Nicholas's grandmother Eleni, she loves her garden. She's very proud of her garden, more so than her children. Her daughter would joke, and it's just I make it very colourful. I add a lot and lots of plants. You can see the sort of the star. I had a little bench because I feel like they'd have a bench in the back garden, and I'm just looking here for a little angel statue because I thought, oh, that would be cute to put in the like size it down and put it in the garden by these flowers. Because originally I was just going to put the flowers in this section, but then I like looked at it. I took a step back in just a second. And I was like, doesn't look good. So yeah, I get rid of the flowers there, add some more azaleas, and then I size them up, and I try to make it look like it's a very loved garden. And this definitely rubs off on Nicholas, who is also a lover of the outdoors. Uh, and I think I also make him a geek, and then that's it for now. But his aspiration is to have a big happy family, because even though he does have access to that sort of family aspect for most of his childhood, um, he was still quite young when that rift between his grandparents and his mother sort of started, and so he is oh my god, did I not change that flower? Oops. So yeah, he is like he very much wants, the family that he sort of never had growing up, and I have plans for him. I have made his partner already. I put him in the world, and they could be no different. Nicholas I see is a very shy person, and I will obviously introduce you to this character more, when we get into the Let's Play, which will probably be soonish. But let's just say they're just a little bit different, and if you're like, they kind of remind me of Achilles and Patroclus, no, they didn't. They don't remind you of that. Okay, they kind of are. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, also I am trying to be more inclusive in my gameplay, because I pride myself on being inclusive, and yeah, whenever I play The Sims, I make the most hetero families ever, like mum, dad, children, rinse and repeat, and I think that's where I've gotten bored. I'm like, this is so boring. Like, how dull. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm not going to include heterosexual. I'm not going to include hetero relationships in this Let's Play, but I am going to definitely try and make it more LGBT. Not focus so much on like bashing out the kids, and things like that. I'm going to have fun. That's the aim of the game. So yeah, here I'm just trying to decide that TV. I bought it back. I decided you kind of got a nice one for their grandson. And they might have upgraded it when they found out he was going to come live with them. Just having a little bird box in the back garden here, and you can see all those colours. I really like them. They all sort of I really, really think it looks good. And I'm just adding some sort of like character to this kitchen, because it was just a bit boring at the moment. And this will be up for download on the gallery. I will announce when that is on Twitter, because I think there's like 1 or 2 bits of CC in this, and so I'm just going to quickly remove those, upload it, and then re-add them. I think you can see it there. It's that teapot and that cookbook. They're just bits of CC that I always have in my game, because as much as I love the teapot that comes with The Sims, it just doesn't, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next video, which will hopefully be the Let's Play first part. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a nice day. Thanks. Bye.